Thank you for joining us today. Today I'm talking to Paula. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't check to see how to say your last name. Tell me that.
Okay, Kilcoyne.
Paula Kilcoyne from LArche, St. Louis. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Angela. We have a long relationship with College Church, so I'm really happy to be with you today.
Well, let's start just by finding out what is LArche.
So LArche St. Louis is both a nonprofit, an agency that supports individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in homes in Maplewood and Webster Groves. We have 3 homes, and we're also a community. So we're a group of people beyond the support that we're offering in the homes. We have a wide circle of friends, volunteers, students, people who are involved in the work that we do, the mission that we have, but who come just to enjoy the relationships with those who live day to day.
And I did find out from Ted and Donna Aniel about the connection to College Church. So it's really exciting that we've got this long relationship.
Yes, and they continue. The members of the household come and, well, right now they're not able to come to Mass, but for several years, been in 3 rows in the front of the church, the 10:30 Mass. So
that's really neat.
And some people sing in the choir.
Yeah. We'll welcome them back as soon as we are able to welcome more people back. So how is LArche St. Louis connected also to the larger LArche international community?
Yes, good question. So LArche International is a federation made up of member communities around the world. So we are a member of the international organization through our direct membership with LArche USA, which involves 19 member communities in the United States. And we have leadership that we are accountable to for living out the mission of LArche. It was a long process for the annuals and other members of College Church and other people around the St. Louis area who spent several years preparing an application to LArche International to be able to open the first home here in LArche St. Louis. So it is a long vetting process and showing that a group has the staying power to live out the mission the way that LArche International standardizes around the world.
Now, how did you yourself become involved in LArche?
I learned about LArche at Marquette University. There were events every year that welcomed assistants. Those are the live-in caregivers and core members. Those are the people with intellectual disabilities. Pairs of people would come to campus at Marquette, and there was a Jesuit there who organized student groups to host people. And so I learned about it. And when I finished college, I went to the largest LArche community in North America, which is in Toronto. Went for a summer, a break from studies. I'd started graduate school, and I ended up staying for many, many years, about 25 years, 10 years as a single person. And then I met my husband there, and we stayed as a couple in that community, working closely with Sister Sue Mosteller and Father Henry Now, and a well-established community there. But it became evident that at some point that I wanted to return home to St. Louis. And I'm a Nearings Hall grad, and always came to College Church on my visits home. And we longed to be back with my family here in St. Louis. And we came just after the first home had opened here in St. Louis. So LArche St. Louis now is 9 years since we have been offering residential supports. And I came at a time when they were looking for a new leader, and there was a discernment process, very much in the Jesuit tradition of prayer and listening and looking for a person with the right gifts. And I was given a mandate, and now I'm in my second mandate. Been 6 years as the community leader.
Okay. Now, it's a really hard subject to bring up, but there was news this year right after the founder of L'Arche, Jean Bonnier, had died about credible allegations of manipulation, emotional abuse from women. How has the community in St. Louis responded to this news?
It was very, very troubling, very sad, and there's been a lot of grief and anger over that. We chose to immediately come together as a body of assistants, primarily to work with some professional counselors and spiritual directors who know our community well, but to work in small groups and also individually to process the news, and also, offer clinical support to anyone for whom that may trigger other traumas in their lives. We also did process the news with our core members, telling them, and certainly affirming for them that L'Arche in no way wants to be an organization that would allow something like that to happen. And so we have boosted up our safeguarding measures and training to be very clear that we are zero tolerance for any kind of harassment in our homes or as an employer. And we have, for our staff, we have an employee assistance program, and also a third-party professional agency that if anyone ever felt like they had any cause for any type of harassment or discrimination in the workplace, that they had a place to go to. If they didn't feel they could come to the leadership, myself or the board, or internally, they could go externally. So we've really wanted to be as transparent as possible about that, and not wanting to perpetuate the secrecy and the lies that happened historically.
Yeah. And then, of course, there was a 1-2 punch, because shortly after the news of that broke, then the pandemic hit. How has that affected your households?
Yeah. It's been challenging on the one hand, because our homes, we have our assistants, the caregivers, many of them on the team choose to live in the home, and some of them have their own homes and come in and do shift work. But at the very beginning of the pandemic, a number of our live out assistants were asked and said yes to moving into our homes with the live-in team members, so that each home could shelter in place like a family. And those homes became a bubble where they didn't interact with the other 3 homes in any way other than virtually. And we were able to do that right away. Now we continue to have members, staff members that live in their own homes and come in, and we ask them to practice a really strict social distancing in order to work for us. We've made that really clear that that's an expectation. We've been able to be really creative. With the warmer weather, we can do some things outside, social distancing, or through windows, visiting or drive-by birthday parties, even a wedding. But we've seen that we are staying at home and practicing stricter rules than what we're seeing in the environment around us. That's challenging. We have to explain, on each case-by-case basis for core members and assistants, how to live that's good for people's emotional and mental well-being. So
Sure.
we've done some creative supports for that to happen. We do have some lovely decks and outdoor spaces in our homes. It's been good. It will be challenging in the winter. We've been able to partner with a Lutheran church in Webster, where we have some space for indoor aerobic exercise, and
Nice.
they have a projector screen and that kind of thing. So again, house by house only, but we'll be able to do that. And then when we've had any kind of concern that someone might have been exposed to the virus, or we were able to give vacations for our staff this summer, and we'd like to do that again over the holidays, when they come back, they need a place to quarantine. And again, we were able to partner with the missionaries of La Salette to use a home on their campus
Wow.
just for that purpose.
Wow.
And you know, that's been amazing. And then if a core member also has to go to the hospital for any kind of treatment, they can come back and be quarantined as well with one of our assistants. And that's just given us a lot of peace of mind. So, you know, in all, you know, it's going well. We're really committed to continuing to offer, you know, a lot of unique supports, I would say, that we wouldn't have done in the past. And, you know, we might continue them in terms of how we compensate our assistants, also in terms of how we have specialized trainings, even virtually, but every week, you know, making sure we're seeing people, you know, face to face on the screen, talking about what it's like and supporting people.
Absolutely. So are there different kind of charisms to each house? Are there commonalities to the rhythms of life? How does that work?
It's really driven by the individual needs. So each person has their own, each person with a disability has their own goals and routines and kind of habits and how they want to live their life. And then you bring that together, and with the personalities and the proclivities of the assistants that are living together, together they decide, you know, kind of what their weekly, daily routines and things that they'll do together, times that they'll spend alone. And yes, each one definitely has a personality, and certain activities that become ritualized, and you know, other houses know that about them, or friends know that and can partake in the Friday night karaoke at Joyful House, or the pancakes on Saturday morning at sunrise, and just, you know, those are small ways, but you know, even deeper, there's just, you know, there's a way of being together that's very unique, I would say, each house.
Very cool. Excuse me. Well, thank you, Paula.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your time.
Oh, so happy. I really appreciate you reaching out. Yeah. And I hope people will, yeah, look us up. We have, you know, a Facebook page, community nights that people can join.
Great.
Thank you.